Hey, Dan and Terry, just a bit of a game plan I've got formulated in my head for this Friday night. I found this image online and I was thinking if I threw a couple of burgers or a couple of sandwiches out onto the field up there at Townsville this Friday night, do you reckon that'd be enough to distract you?
It'd be enough to distract me and Dan, but
yeah, not at all. Maybe Andrew Fafita, but the rest of the boys are looking real good, judging by those photos earlier tonight.
Yeah.
Ooh. Howdy, everyone. It's Sam. I hope you're doing really well. If you're new around here, I hope I can get you to consider liking the content and subscribing to the channel. And if you are a regular around these here parts, thank you very much for the continuous support. This Friday night marks the start to the finals, in my opinion anyway, and it cannot get off to a bigger, better start than what we've got lined up this Friday evening. And to get stuck into the meat of it all, I have a couple of Sharks-obsessed fans with me to get into it all. They are the Fins Up podcast boys, and they are the Rugby League Outlaws, Dan and Terry. Dan, how you going, man? And thank you so much for joining me. It's really nice to meet you.
Mate, I'm fantastic. Likewise, thanks for having us on. I can't believe we're going live because not even our own channel will entrust us with that. So it's at your own risk, but we're excited.
No risk, no pain, no gain, man. And Terry, thank you so much for your time. It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too, Sam. It's great that intro. Then that movie was just. You need to teach us the ways.
About $5 on the mobile app store, and just use your thumbs, mate, for a couple of hours, and it'll work out just crystal clear for you. Now, Friday night is a massive occasion. It's retro round. North Queensland Cowboys versus the Cronulla-Sutherland Sharks. Second versus fourth. Starting with you, Terry, man. North Queensland Cowboys in second and Sharks in fourth. Is that something that you predicted at the start of the year?
No, I actually tipped you guys to win the wooden spoon quite comfortably.
Oh, bloody hell.
I did. I picked us. I'm pretty sure I picked us for seventh, but said that we would be pesky around the top 8 teams and would knock a couple of them off, which we've done. But yeah, at the beginning of the year, I had you guys at like $1.30 for the spoon.
Oh, strike me pink. And what about yourself, Dan?
Look, like-minded Sharks fans, we both agreed without any hesitation that the Cowboys would finish last. Couldn't name your second rowers, eating a bit of crow there. Saw Cronulla as an 8th to 7th place team, so very shocked that we're running into this game in the positions we are.
For sure. And just a question on just some of the history of you two blokes. So have you guys ventured out to PointsBet Stadium before? How many times have you been out there, and what are some of the standout matches that you guys have experienced? Starting with Dan?
Well, yes, we've been to PointsBet a few times. My second home away from home. In terms of highlights, I mean, anything from 2016 stands out. But there's a game where we towed Newcastle up. I think it was 49-30 in the sunshine. Many, many years ago, Matt Rogers was in full flight. My nan was sitting to my right, had the biggest smile in the world on her face. That's probably my favourite ever Sharks game outside the obvious grand final.
Yeah.
But, mate, all games at PointsBet Stadium are a highlight. It's the greatest stadium of all. It's not dilapidated at all, and I can't speak highly enough.
Yo, and Terry, man, what are some of your favourite highlights out at PointsBet Stadium?
I've got to say Mother's Day 2012, we played the Storm, who were flying high. No one said that we were going to win that game, and Jeremy Smith put on the greatest performance I can actually remember from a front row. From a lock forward, and that's saying that we had Gal there for a long time as well. So Smith was just unplayable that game. The very first game I went to, we beat South Sydney 42-0, and ET scored 5 tries.
Yo.
Like Dan, I think every game in 2016 was a highlight. And just recently, the Manly game, I took my kids to that, and we all got to witness Sifa Talakai just go mental. So there's some of the ones that are just burning in the head at the moment.
Oh, thank you, guys. Thank you. And just to evolve from that too, a young man, CJ Moxley, question for Dan and Terry, starting with you, Terry. Can you recall the lead up to the 2016 GF? And I guess to add on to that, guys, what were you doing that day?
Well, we went to the semi-final on the Friday night, purchased our tickets on the Sunday, and come Monday, I didn't want to go. It was just one of them things where I thought, if we go to the grand final and lose, like, it's just going to be one of them awful nights. But then I thought, if you don't go to the grand final and win or lose, like, you've missed the biggest moment. So I got talked into it, but it was like an overwhelming anxiety on the day. So I just went to Northies and down 1,000 beers, and I was great by the time we got there.
Nice. Dan, man, what about yourself?
So the week of, everything in Cronulla was black, white, and blue. All the local businesses had painting in the front. There were posters of the boys everywhere. Everyone who was driving past had up Cronulla playing. We did a walk the night before along the Esplanade, and people were just having beers and yelling, "Go the Sharks!" Of course, we're wearing our jerseys. Kids had an absolute ball. In terms of the day, I was there. We got there quite early. We went with the CWC, the Sharks fans bus.
Yep.
Had a great day. The nerves kicked in about 5:30. Richie Sambora and his girlfriend with Living on a Prayer completely took me out of the moment for about 15 minutes. I needed that. But by the time Keith Urban was on, mate, the old backside was clenched nice and tight for the next 2 hours.
Nice. And so I just want to quickly say hello to everyone that's just slowly joining into the chat right now. Got a viewer from Papua New Guinea right now watching us, so thank you. And we've got Mr. Jason Reeder, an avid watcher. Thank you very much for your continuous support. And again, this is Dan and Terry of not only Rugby League Outlaws that you can find on YouTube, but also Fins Up podcast as well. The links are in the description below. I heavily recommend you go check out their content. They are great content creators. Now, one of the other things that I want to talk about just before we get into the preview, and I want to tell you guys my opinion on something that might be controversial to you guys. If someone came up to me and asked me, besides the Brisbane Broncos, any team outside of Queensland, who do you reckon the Cowboys' biggest rival is or fiercest competitor is? And for the life of me, I think it's Cronulla-Sutherland Sharks in second, alone sitting in second. There have been some crazy games. There have been some dramatic, controversial matches between these two since 2010, I dare say. I grew up watching Cowboys-Sharks games absolutely on the edge of my seat, white-knuckled sort of thing. And they've played some extraordinary games in the past. And starting with you, Dan, this time, man, do you recall some of these clashes? And what do you think about the Cowboys and Sharks feud that they've sort of built up through the final series over the years?
Look, that's a fair call. Every final series in like the mid-20s or 2010s, there seemed to be a time where we'd run into you. And I mean, I remember we had a plane load fly up and you spanked us like 40-0 or something ridiculous. And then the next year in the prelim, we got you back. So like that. But of course, the highlight for me was the supposed 7 tackle try. I've watched the replay. It was 6. I don't know what you guys are complaining about. It was fair.
Is it all fair? No, well, fair dinkum. It's almost 10 years ago, so I mean, it's water off a duck's back, though, isn't it? But Terry, man, do you recall the Cowboys Sharks clashes over the years?
Yeah, look, probably the standout one outside of the finals would be 2010, where Jonathan Thurston missed a penalty goal from 30 metres out right in front during Golden Point. And Johnny Morris actually kicked the field goal. Trent Barrett kicked the first one to send us into Golden Point. John Morris kicked the game winner. So that's probably the game that stands out the most. I think there was a cracking game in 2015 at Shark Park as well, where Jonathan Thurston kicked the ball and Gerard Bill ran 100 metres to score his first ever Sharks try. Outside of that, though, as you said, as Dan said in the finals, 2013, John Morris takes Kane Lynette into touch. It looked like it was going to be a try and you were going to end our season. 2015, we absolutely annihilated Souths, and you guys lost to Brisbane in the opening week. So we're sitting there thinking we're going to go up there and get these guys off the back of a tough game, Golden Point game that you guys went into. And Matt Scott decided that he wasn't having a bar of that.
Matt Scott had Milo that morning.
2016, get you the week before the grand final, get some revenge. And then 2017, week one, the Cowboys with a depleted team, no Thurston, Tamari Martin injured, Michael Morgan that morning with the flu. And, you get us in Golden Point. So, we scored early that game. Chad Townsend scored in the 3rd minute of that game, and we thought it was going to be a cakewalk. And ironically, you guys went on to win the grand final. And that year, Cronulla fans, I remember in 2017 going, we've just got to flick that switch and we'll win. And I thought we were going to, had we beat you guys, we probably would have gone on the same run. So, but yeah, look, as you said, the rivalry, I think it's probably one of the best rivalries in terms of it's a friendly rivalry. It's not like a Cronulla-Melbourne where, you're worried about punch-ups and, dog shots. But yeah, this has been all the games barring 2015 semi-final have been absolute crackers.
For sure. And there was also the one in 2016 where Valentine Holmes ran, I think, 100 meters to score a famous win on Monday Night Footy. I think it was a scoreline of 13 points to 10 or something like that. So these Cowboys-Sharks games, man, more often than not actually are really close. And that's why I am so excited to have these two gentlemen rip in tear with me. Let's get stuck into it. This Friday night, North Queensland Cowboys, Cronulla-Sharks up there at Townsville. It's the one and only meeting of these two sides this year. And Sportsbet have $1.77 favourites for the Cowboys, and the Cronulla-Sharks are $2.05. Now, Dan, you guys are affiliated with Top Sport. Off of Sportsbet, I think at the start of the week, the Cronulla-Sharks were about $2.60. I don't know what's it like on your end, man, but so much money's come in for the Sharkies.
Yeah, well, there's so many players backing up for the Cowboys. And I saw today you guys are resting Nano and I think Val Holmes too, which is good considering the form they're both in for us. But, Nico Hines is back and he's not playing Origin, which is a huge, huge plus. Yep. Talakai will probably play 20 minutes. He may come in, he may not. They've named him an extended bench from memory. So, look, I can see why. I think if this is in Cronulla, the odds are switched straight away. Yep. But that home ground up there, it is ridiculous. I've never been, obviously, but it's right on the top of the list of the grounds I must attend. It looks fantastic.
Likewise, it got chopped up in the first year of its existence, and admittedly, I think our record now stands at 15 losses and 10 wins, but we're starting to rectify it anyway. So we'll go through the team list news now, man. So we'll start with the home side, and I'll kick it out of the way. At fullback, Scott Drinkwater. The wingers are Kyle Felt and Brendan Elliott coming in for Murray Taulagi, and Peter Hicku is the other centre with Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow. Tom Dearden has been named to back up from State of Origin, considering he'll make his debut. That's a massive ask, so we'll see what happens there. And Chad Townsend is the co-captain. And then the forward pack, Jermaine Tadua-Brown, Cohen Hess, and Reece Robson at hooker, Tom Gilbert, Connolly Lemuelu in jersey 12, and Jason Taumalolo is in there at lock. And the interchange bench reads Jake Granville, Luciano Leilua, Ben Hampton in 16, Griffin Neem in 17, and young Tom Chester in there at jersey 18. Dan, going through the Cronulla-Sharks team list, man, 1 through to 13.
Look at fullback, of course, the supremely informal Kennedy. The try-scoring freaks on the wing, Sione Katoa and Ronaldo Mulatalo. What a contest they're having. In the centres, Jesse Ramian coming off a hat-trick, and Connor Tracy, who may make way on the day, but we'll leave that for later. In the halves, of course, young Matt Moylan, arguably the informed player of the competition. Number 7, halfback, Nico Hines. Number 8, our personal favourite, Tobias Rudolph. Number 9, of course, the supremely informed Blake Rowley, despite what certain Cowboys fans say. And then we've got Royce Hunt joining Toby in the engine room. And in the back row, Teague Wilton, Wade Graham, and, of course, Dale Finucane.
And the bench for us, Aidan Tolman, Cam McGuinness, Braden Hamlin-Ueli made a strong return last week, and Andrew Fafita. Braden Trindle's 18th man, and then we've got Jesse Colhern, Cade Dykes, Cece Fatalakai, and Lachlan Miller all making the trip up.
Hey, Terry, man, question. Is that, besides Talakai, is that as full strength as a Sharkies outfit is going to look this year?
Look, Jack Williams, he's been ruled out for the year, so I dare say that I think Andrew Fafita will stay around the squad. I'm very surprised that Tom Hazelton hasn't been named to come up there, but Jesse Colhern's very, very close to a first grade debut as well. He's a young, strong, started as a lock, edge back rower, playing front row in New South Wales Cup for 80 minutes at the moment. So it's about as full strength as we could get, and I think a lot of people would probably, wouldn't bat an eyelid if Andrew Fafita was rotated with Jesse Colhern or Tom Hazelton, but that's our 1 to 17 right now.
And Dan, man, is there any changes that you'd make to that lineup that was announced today?
No. Terry called it. There's a bit of conjecture whether Talakai will come in for Connor. I can't see that not happening unless Talakai is injured. But look, the way Connor returned to first grade the other night, I mean, he may go into 17. Who knows? But a very strong side. That's the 17 I would have named. And
going off of the boo that came in a second ago, let's get it out of the way. So Chad Townsend, guys. Is he? Oh, what does that say? Boo!
Boo.
Oh, boo! Well, is he the buy of the year in 2022? Like you guys,
yes.
like as a Cowboy, never thought in a million years that Chad would have come from the Warriors from Cronulla to come up, and what he's done this year. Is he the buy of the year?
I'll say yes, because this was laughed at by league circles everywhere when it was announced that Townsend was getting $800,000 to go to you guys, but he's propelled you to second spot. So I'll say yes, and I would say in second place, nipping at his heels, would be Dale Finucane.
No, true. And would you have Adam Reynolds in third place?
I'd have Adam Reynolds in third and Nico Hines at fourth.
Yo, true. And so Terry, are you in the same camp as Dan as far as disliking Chad Townsend?
Yeah, look, we appreciate Chad for being the first premiership winning number 7, but the final 4 years of his time at Cronulla were nothing but a meme. So I'm glad you guys enjoy him, and I'm glad he's playing okay footy for you at the moment, but I'm so glad that he's as far away from Cronulla as you can get.
Dan, man, Dan, so Chad, man, you obviously second those comments that made by Terry.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it's certainly nothing personal. He was playing a terrible brand of football at Cronulla, missing some disgusting tackles, kicking the ball, as Terry famously says, can't kick past his shadow. His time was up. He had to move on. It was done. The relationship was over. He moved on, and we're happy he's playing really well. As I said to Terry, if he goes and plays well anywhere, as long as it's not at Cronulla or Newtown, I don't care. But the Chad Townsend we're seeing this year to the one we saw in Sharks colours last year is complete night and day. So these Sharks fans are still we should have never let Chad go, etc., etc. Based on this Chad, he fits in perfectly with you guys, whereas Cronulla, we need a halfback who can do a lot more than what Chad's capable of, whereas the other players around him up there complement him perfectly. So good on him, but I hope he has a shocker on Friday night and not embarrassed by that at all.
Just to echo Dan's comments there, the majority of our spine is exactly the same as last year. However, Blake Brayley's game doesn't complement Chad Townsend at all. Because Blake's a runner first, whereas Reece Robson is just clean service. And Will Kennedy and Chad Townsend just never, ever struck up a combination that you could turn around and go, well, maybe there's something there, whereas Scott Drinkwater and Chad look like they know what they're doing without even having to say anything. So he's gone somewhere and made the most of it, and congratulations to him. But as Dan said, his time was up with us in 2019. It dragged out 2 seasons too many, and that's why there's a bit of resentment.
So I was there at Cogra last year when Sharkies beat us 48 points to 10 out there at Cogra, and man, they put us to the sword that day, and they looked great then. And what I like about Chad Townsend as well is that before he came up, we didn't have halves that were kicking on third or fourth tackle and getting it deep into the in-goal area. And I've really liked that that's what he's brought up to us as well, a smarter kicking game than what we did not have before he came up. And may as well just swip the table over. A guy that I have taken a really long time to warm up to on the Cronulla-Sutherland Sharks team is Jesse Ramian, and he left out to wait. He went out to Newcastle. He's come back, and I think it's the best I've ever seen him play. I think Jesse Ramian, while he still has an error or two in him, Dan, starting with you first. I think Jesse Ramian is playing the best footy of his career so far, man.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been talking about it the last couple of weeks. We keep saying this is the week that Ramian's going to come good. This is the week. So this week we look pretty darn clever, if I do say so myself. But look, Ramian on his day is the most destructive centre, not named Justin Olam or Joseph Manu. So this past weekend or Thursday night, so Jesse Ramian we know and love. You're right, though. He's got an error in him. His decision-making this year has been diabolical. The penalties he's given away, the drawn passes where he's drawn and not passed, the times where he's been on the ground and thrown the ball into row C, that's taken away a little bit. But in terms of tackle breaks, in terms of meters, in terms of defense, this Jesse Ramian is the difference between us finishing in the 4 and us being a threat in the 4. So I'm absolutely loving it.
Yeah, that's a massive good call, man. Terry, dude, I've heard the Spins Up podcast for a couple of weeks, and I completely agree with your sentiments about Jesse Ramian too, man. Like, if you were his coach or if you were someone to tell him how to edit his game, what would you say to Jesse Ramian, Terry?
I think, look, Jesse Ramian just reminds me of the classic ADD kid who would go out and play on a Saturday afternoon footy with you, park football. He just wants to, hit everything, hurt everyone, and run over the top of the biggest kid out there. And, he doesn't shy away from contact. He is second in centres for most runs, only behind Joseph Manu, but Manu's had games where he's played 5'8" fullback, so he gets those 20 to 30 touches. Jesse's runs aren't always at centres, wingers, and 5'8". Like, if we need to take that suicide run on the second tackle, him and Talakai are often the ones putting their hands up. Now, in terms of, if I was coaching him, it would just be that you control your aggression, control your enthusiasm, but don't put it away. You just need to pick and choose your moments. Now, in terms of his errors, people turn out and say that errors kill him. He's averaging less than 1 error a game. Now, if you have a look at his touches, Jesse Ramian averages an error every 21.7 touches of the football. Yep. Whereas you have a look at someone like Ozak Targo, he's making an error every 12.8 touches. And then bringing in Joey Manu, he makes an error every 14.6 touches of the football. So Jesse's got an elite game going at the moment, but it's not the errors. It's not the errors. It's the characteristic of the error. Like, it's a shocking pass, or it's a knock on with no one around you, or, the markers are 5 meters away from you and you still can't play the ball properly. So the errors that you remember, it's not as if, he got crunched in a tackle and you're like, okay, I forgive that one. They're really dopey errors, and his penalties are worse. So that's the frustration. But in terms of the season that Jesse Ramian's having, this is the most in terms of output of try assists that he's had. Yeah. And now in terms of tries, he's 3 behind 2018, but he's played a lot less games. So this is statistically Jesse Ramian's best season that he's having with the ball and without the ball. It's just the errors and penalties that are killing us at the moment. And once he gets that under wraps, I don't know if he's ever going to be a state of origin centre because of the caliber of the players that are there, but you'll start seeing his name in and around that squad.
Yeah. I can't quite remember if he's ever been named in New South Wales squad, but he'll be there one of these days, man. I agree. He's got New South Wales origin in his future if he can just edit a couple of things here and there. And he is coming up against Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow in a one-on-one centre battle that is it's sort of like a David versus Goliath in a way. Ramian's a bigger body, Hammer's a quicker body. Terry, man, how do you think Ramian is going to going one-on-one with Hammer this weekend?
Look, he's come up against the best centres in the competition this year, and he's really held his own. So I think it's not the pace that gets Jesse Ramien, because as you saw, he blew past Nick Meaney, who is one of the speedsters of the competition, to score a try on the weekend. It's not the pace, it's the footwork. And when someone puts footwork on Jesse Ramien, that's when you see the lazy arm. Yep. That's when you see the penalties give away. So the one thing about Hammer is he's got that electrifying pace, but he's also got footwork. So this is going to be the game where Jesse, control your enthusiasm, control your aggression, just do your job. He doesn't have to go out and score 3 or 4 tries. He's got to stop Hammer from doing that. And if he stops Hammer from doing that, then we're going to go a long way to winning this football game.
And Dan, correct me if I'm wrong, man. So Ramien's partner is Katoa, and he's one of my favorite wingers to watch. He is such a weapon, and he is going to be coming up against Brendan Elliott, a bit of a long stay workhorse sort of figure. How do you reckon Ramien and Katoa are going to going up against Hammer and Brendan Elliott this weekend?
As Tarek said, if we can draw even in terms of, Hammer may score a try, if Ramien gets one, you take the push, With the greatest of respects to young or old Brendan Elliott, Katoa's in career best form, and that should be a relative mismatch. It's not like it's Daniel Tupou jumping at him. They're around the same height and weight from memory. I haven't seen Elliott play for quite a little while. Katoa's form right now should see him win that battle convincingly. His meters should be up around the 150 to 180. Look, I'd be surprised if he doesn't cross for a try. I got him in my try scorers bet with Top Sport, our good mates. Look, that's one that I tick. The 1 versus 1s, there's a whole lot where you're thinking, who's going to be the better? I think Katoa's won, 10-8. But, it's not played on paper, the game. So, I don't know, but I'm sitting right here now, I may eat these words, I'm quietly confident.
Yeah. And I look, with the greatest respect to Connor Tracy on the opposite side of the field now, Connor Tracy is in for Talakai, and I'm sitting here wiping the sweat from my brow saying thank goodness for that, because it would have been Talakai versus Peter Hiku and Kyle Felt, and that would have been a great one-on-one matchup. But Talakai is in some pretty good form, man, but it's going to be Connor Tracy and Ronaldo Mulatalo versus Kyle Felt, man. This backline battle is worth the price of admission alone, man. Terry, have you... Mulatalo, man, is he in the best form of his career? I mean, some of the stats would probably suggest that he might be at the moment, man.
Yeah, look, in terms of attacking output, this is Ronaldo's best year so far, and he's only getting better. He leads the league in line breaks. He's scored 12 tries, which is the most he's ever scored in the season. He would have absolutely hammered that in 2020, but he got his jaw broken with 3 or 4 games to go. So, yeah, look, it's been great, but the one thing that every winger has is a kryptonite, and Kyle Felt has been Ronaldo's kryptonite, despite games where we have blown you off the park or beaten you recently. I think we went up there last year and won 26-24, but Kyle Felt made Ronaldo look like a reserve-grade winger that night. And one of the tries he scored, he literally picked the ball up and just put it across the line from dummy half, and Ronaldo didn't read it. And that's the one issue with Ronaldo, it's his defensive awareness. Now, it's been great this year, but as I said, Kyle Felt, you could almost certainly back him for an anytime try scorer, because he scored in 3 consecutive games against Ronaldo Mulatalo.
Oh man, mine's like a bloody library, mate. Fair income. No, that's great, and you're right. Like you say that, and just instantly all comes back in. And just to move now a little bit more central now. And you touched on him before. Nico Hines and Dale Finucane, starting with you, Terry, man. Dale Finucane and Nico Hines coming up from the Melbourne Storm in the conversation for the buy of the year. You guys must have just popped the party poppers as soon as they got announced as bloody signings from Melbourne, Terry.
Yeah, look, I was out for dinner when we signed Nico Hines, and it was a text message just came through going, hey, we're about to announce the signing of Nico Hines. Like, it literally came from nowhere. There had been no talk of it. There had been no suggestions that he was coming. And, Will Kennedy was in fantastic form last year, and he was our player of the year, and everyone was going, well, he's our fullback. Like, Nico Hines is coming up to play fullback. It came out straight away that he wanted to play in the half. So everyone thought, well, he's going to play 6 and we'll keep Sean Johnson. When he said that he wanted to play half back, we're like, well, who's going to be our 5'8"? The combination he has with Matt Moylan is one of the best in the competition at the moment in terms of attacking output. Look, Nico has his games where you turn around and you're just like, okay, he's done enough to get us that win, but you probably could have wanted more. And then he's had games where you're like, man, this guy's one of the best halfbacks in the competitions, and he's only played 12 games at halfback. But in terms of Dale Finucane, this is the big one for mine, where I'd almost have him at the buy of the year. But in games that Dale Finucane has played and finished, we're 7-1. The only loss that we had was in round 1, and that was against Canberra. We did lose the game to Melbourne, but he didn't finish that game. He only played 6 minutes, so I've put that in the column. So we're 7-1 with Dale Finucane, and our average winning margin is 23.8 to 9.8. So we win our games by 14 points when Dale Finucane plays. We're 3-3 without Dale Finucane, 3 wins, 3 losses, and our score line is 21.1 to 24.6. So we lose on average with Dale Finucane. But it's, the 88 points we've conceded in 8 games that he's played, which is 11 points per game. And he's been back for us for 210 minutes. And since he's been back, no try has been scored when Dale Finucane's been on the field.
Get bucketed.
The Dogs scored their try, Dale Finucane wasn't on the field. The Storm scored their try, Dale Finucane wasn't on the field. Dale Finucane entered the game in the 25th minute against the Gold Coast Titans. They didn't score another try after that. So this is how important he is to us. It's not about his run meters, and it's not about what he does with the ball. It's about what he does without the ball. And I could go there. I've gone down a wormhole on Dale Finucane stats about how Cam McInnes is the best defender in the league when Dale Finucane plays. And Toby Rudolph's tackle efficiency is 7% better when Dale Finucane plays. And Teague Wilton is better when Dale Finucane plays. So, the drop-off when he doesn't play is absolutely incredible. Now, Braden Hamlin-Uele is the biggest one. When Dale Finucane plays, Braden Hamlin-Uele averages 140 metres and tackles at 96%. When he doesn't play, he averages 98 metres and tackles at 88%. So he's the biggest drop-off in the team that we have. And he's back and Dale's back. And I think this is going to be a big critical part for us right now.
And Braden Hamlin-Uele, to you, Dan, that was awesome, Terry. Braden Hamlin-Uele, before he got injured, I thought he was just below Dale Finucane as far as being the spark in the side. I think he's had a terrific season so far, man. How impressed have you been with Hamlin-Uele, and did you think he did a good job last week against Melbourne Storm?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, all the mail we were receiving was that he needed another week, potentially 2. Of course, Toby, our good mate, getting COVID necessitated him coming back. I thought he was monstrous on return, considering he's been out with a torn pec, which isn't, like a broken toe or, something that you get over in a couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. That's a career-changing, potentially, injury. So I was really happy with his performance. In terms of his early season, I think he was our most impressive forward. He's making a heap of meters. He was starting games. He's a big body too, which Cronulla, for all our positives, we don't have that monster forward, in the Clemmer or the, Asafa Solomona mold. Warrior Hargraves has his best game every year against our small packs. So him coming back adds immediate size and aggression. He also off the bench offers something that we don't have, which is a meter eater. Tolman is having a fantastic season. Criminally underrated, Aiden Tolman. Tackles real high, plays the ball quick, makes it. You look at his meters and the impact he makes each run compared to Hamlin-Uele, and it's not even close. So I'm so happy he's back. I was really happy when we extended his contract. When we signed him, it was a bit of a joke that this guy was going to come down and keep, Miranda KFC in profit, because he was so big and he copped an unfair rap as being unfit. Completely changed his body type, brand new attitude. Now he's in our starting 13 at full fitness. I can't wait to see it, and I think him being back this week tips the forward battle in our edge.
You said something about the interchange bench being a little bit lighter. Well, for me, man, I'm going to bring up the overlay just one more time. I look at the Cowboys bench, and you've got Jake Granville, Leilua, Hampton, and Neem. It's a talented bench, but you look at the Sharkies bench, Tolman, McInnes, Hamlin-Uele, and Andrew Fafita. That is a monstrous forward pack in comparison to the North Queensland Cowboys interchange. And Jason Taumalolo is going one-on-one with Dale Finucane this weekend. And Taumalolo is one of the best post-contact meter eaters in the game as well. I cannot wait to see what happens between Dale Finucane and Taumalolo this weekend. The other, not concern, but the other point of interest is the second row battles. Terry, I'll bring up the Cowboys second rowers. So you've got Tom Gilbert, who's going to be backing up from Origin, and then Connolly Lemuelu, who's been in and out of first grade. And then you've got Luciano Leilua coming off the bench. And yeah, I don't know how he's going to help out in the forward pack sort of thing. But then you move to the Sharkies second rowers, and you've got Wade Graham and Teague Wilton. And then at a pinch, Andrew Fafita could play in the second row. But what's your opinion on that second row battle this weekend, Terry?
Well, T. Wilton is going to play for New South Wales and Australia one day. He's that good. He's been in all the junior teams. It's only a matter of time now. He's the closest thing to Boyd Cordner that I've seen coming through. He's, the lines he runs, his defense, he's incredible. And then you've got Wade Graham, who's been there and done that before. Look, Tom Gilbert getting the call up to Origin is going to be massive, and depending on how many minutes he gets, because you've rested a lot of players like, Holmes and Nanai to start off with. Jordan McLean obviously injured, give us a size battle as well. I did hear a little bit of a rumor circulating today that Tom Dearden will also be rested from this game, and Kane Bradley, I don't know who he is, but could go into the wing, and Brendan Elliott going to fullback, Scott Drinkwater going to 5'8".
Okay.
So that was something that I heard today. I don't know how reliable, but it just sort of popped up and I read into it. But the second row battle, Teague Wilton, Wade Graham against Gilbert and what's his name?
Lemuelu.
Yeah, it's going to be a cracking game, and we love playing our edge forwards. So. And one thing Teague Wilton loves coming in for a run. So you got two different kind of back rows with us. You got a ball player and a runner. So yeah, it's going to be.
I don't mean to sound boring, mate, but I actually agree with you on Teague Wilton. You're probably speaking factual, but Teague Wilton sort of come out of nowhere, and he has been so impressive this year, and he's just going to get better and better over the next couple of years, man. I'm with you. I really cannot wait to see more of Teague Wilton and see how he matures. The other thing too I want to mention is the hooking battle. So Reece Robson got selected in the New South Wales squad, and he's gone away for a week. He's gotten teachings from Brad Fittler and learnt in that environment. And Reece Robson was already a pretty good player, and for him to go down there for us or with them and come back up with the knowledge that he's going to have, Reece Robson, lads. Can I get your opinion, Dan and Terry, on Reece Robson's 2002 so far, Dan?
Oh, he's been monstrous. He's another player that you look at and think, oh, he's got a bit of talent. He's probably hasn't reached his full potential. He is incredible. The fact that he's picked for New South Wales albeit the extended squad didn't shock me at all. I mean, every time you look up, I try not to watch too many Cowboys games because you're horrible halfback. But every time I look up, Reece Robson's doing something incredible. So yeah. I'm really happy with how he's playing. In saying that, I hope he's a little bit tired traveling on Friday night, because our forwards, as good as they are, they don't move laterally all that well. And a bloke in the form and talent of Robson can really do us some damage. So if I can pick two players to shut down, it's him and Scott Drinkwater. I think, Tom Lolo is always in the top three, but they're the two that probably worry me the most. So fantastic season so far.
Terry, man, Blake Brayley for you blokes has also really impressed me. Just this whole Sharks bloody outfit's impressed me this year. But Brayley is definitely one of those figures that I really wasn't too familiar with, and I've sat down and watched more games than not of Sharkies, and Brayley's always been a standout. And the battle between him and Robson this weekend is going to be awesome.
Can I just interject quickly, Terry? Look, it's a little known fact that Blake Brayley's in fact Terry's favourite player. It has
true.
been 3 seasons, so I just wanted to put that on record.
I did not even know that.
That's not true at all. I have a love-hate relationship with Blake Brayley. He sometimes he runs the ball and you're like, what was the point of that? And then other times he doesn't run the ball and you're like, that's when you should have done that run. So the last couple of weeks we've won 4 games in a row, and he's been up around our best player. He was absolutely he absolutely carved Melbourne apart on the weekend. He made all the right decisions, what half to give the ball, what side of the ruck. Braden Trindle called for an early kick. That ball was on his chest. The kick went downfield. We pinned Melbourne in the corner. So Blake Brayley, he's been one of our best players. And I think on our fan forum, he's leading our player of the year voting as well. So I'm a pretty harsh critic on Blake Brayley, obviously because we went from Michael Ennis to Jaden Brayley to Blake Brayley. And, we've got an Ennis size hole that hasn't been filled, but Blake's doing a very, very good job. At the beginning of the Origin series, Freddie said that he was around, he wanted him around the squad. He was in the emerging New South Wales side, but I think Reece Robson's jumped him. And I think Reece Robson at the moment is the third best New South Wales hooker behind Coruscant and Cook. Reece Robson's been absolutely phenomenal. I think he's earned the opportunity to go down and train with the Blues. And I think that's just going to be fantastic for you guys, in your run into the finals, because he's around Damien Cook, he's around Api Coruscant, he's picking their brains, and then he goes over and speaks to a halfback that isn't Chad Townsend. He gets to go and speak to Nathan Cleary and go, well, what should I be doing? How do I service? How do I make Chad better? Because he can't do it. I'm only kidding. I'm just taking the mickey out of him there, but it's fantastic for Reece, and he's earned that. When I've actually found a tweet about Reece Robson that I made when the Dragons released him to you for no reason.
Oh yeah,
and I was like, "What do you?" This kid was the New South Wales under-20s hooker, and he was the Australian schoolboys hooker, and for no reason the Dragons just went, "Sure, you can have him." Like, why? Yep. What did they gain from that? You gave them nothing in return.
And now they're working with Moses Mbai down at the Dragons, but it's not
and
a Dragons bashing.
Like, what are you doing?
We could easily fall into a Dragons bashing stream, considering you guys are Sharks fans and we've belted them twice.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yes, but we won't do that. Now, I'm going to get stuck into my tip now. Let's wrap things up. Guys, I think if the Cronulla Sharks make a few more errors than what they have been. So what I'm trying to get at is that the Sharkies' discipline with the ball and without the ball, penalties and errors, they're not in the top 3 sort of thing, but they're a lot higher than North Queensland are. And so if Cowboys can play a very disciplined game and hit those post-contact meters, I think that can go a long way, because also to add on to that, the Sharkies are the second or the third worst team when it comes to ineffective tackles. They don't miss them. They're very good without missing them. But as far as being ineffective tacklers, they're down there in the bottom 5 or so. And so with post-contact meters, if we can play a really good game plan and completions as well, it's going to take us a really long way to getting a really impressive win without Holmes, without Tom Dearden, potentially, Jeremiah Nanai, absolutely. So, yeah, it's going to be such a fascinating game this weekend, second versus fourth. I'm going to go North Queensland Cowboys to win it in Golden Point extra time by 1 point. I honestly think that's how close and how great of a game this is going to be on Friday. I can see it being something along the lines of 23 points to 22. And I think it might be a conversion missed from Nico Hines that actually might aid us in the end as well. Dan, can I get your tip for this weekend, mate?
Look, you're probably not far off with the Nico Hines miss. He's got a miss in him, unfortunately. Look, I think Cronulla, this is a tough trip, even when you guys are going terrible. That trip is just so long and it's just such an event that it really brings it down. Look, I'm going to tip Cronulla because I feel I have to, but, this is the sort of game, like you said, could go either way. Could come down to a field goal. Look, I am worried about Will Kennedy. I'm worried that he's going to get a sore chest. Chad's going to keep hitting him on it all night.
Yep.
With that end-over-end bomb that goes nowhere. So if Will can overcome that pounding on his chest, I think we'll be fine. But look, I think it comes down to legitimately the battle of the halfbacks. Whoever's better on the night, Chad Townsend or Nico Hines, and I'm confident it'll be our boy. I'll 24-22. Nico Hines, a slot one from the sideline, just to prove you wrong.
Yeah, there you go. No, that's fair. Terry, man, what's your tip this weekend, man?
I If you'd asked me a week ago about this game, second versus fourth, the Cowboys and the Sharks, with how well you guys are playing and up there in Townsville, I would have lent on you to win this game and win it quite comfortably. But Jordan McLean being out, Valentine Holmes not being named, and Nanai not being named, so they're definitely not playing. Depending how Dearden gets through 80 minutes of Origin football, depending how Gilbert gets through as well. Looking at your bench, I think that tips it in Cronulla's favour just. I'll stick with us to win this game here. I think you're right in saying that we are ineffective tacklers, and an ineffective tackle is if someone makes 8 meters or more, and we do allow that. We do allow a lot of post-contact meters. Our errors are what kills us. If we, in the times where we control the ball at 78% and above, where we win more games than we lose, and our discipline as well. So it's just going to depend on what type of Cronulla turns up. If we turn up focused and we can win this game and we can win it comfortably, albeit it's Origin affected, I'll pick us to win. I'm not going to pick us comfortably, though. I'm going to say it's going to be a dog fight and we'll get up 18-10.
Yo,
nice. Can I just ask you a question, mate? Bit of a role reversal.
Please.
Ben Hampton. Why is he playing first grade?
Why is he playing first grade? He's off contract at the end of the year, just quietly. This would be his second appearance in first grade. Ben Hampton, I think, has been selected just in case if Dearden doesn't back up from Origin, and Hampton would be an easy fill-in at 6. So I think Drinkwater and Hammer would retain their positions, and I think therefore we'd move in a forward, maybe like a Ben Condon, for example, into the fourth slot onto the interchange bench. So, but Ben Hampton's done some good things, but he hasn't been in first grade enough over the past couple of years, has he?
No, we just like to rag on him. He almost signed for Cronulla and Bale, but also blew a 3-on-2 overlap, which you guys know very well in the grand final. So good fun. But look, I'm not sure if you know I just want to get out there for the Cowboys fans. The source of my Chad Townsend hatred was we were playing the Bulldogs. They were bad and we were good. All game, we just kept blowing tries. Hold the ball, we win by 40. Jack Williams makes a break with a couple of minutes to go. Chad Townsend looks left. We got a 5-on-2. Chad runs, he scores. Chad passes it, we score. Any of the other 5. But he kicked it, this little loopy kick. And then I think Aiden Tolman got back and got it. So blowing a 5-on-2 overlap. We've asked him on Twitter. He blocked us. We asked him on Instagram. He blocked us. Chad, if you're watching, we know you are. 5 is more than 2. Mate.
Except on the weekend. If you find a 5-on-2 overlap on the weekend, kick it out. Kick it to
Tolman.
Yeah.
I'll send him an email, boys.
If you could, please.
Dan and Terry, thank you so much for your time. I am so grateful that you've been so gracious with your time. Please, guys, if you've watched this and there's still people in the chat, please go and check out their content. Rugby League Outlaws via Punctured Media and the Fins Up podcast links are in the description below. They are fantastic podcasters and rugby league YouTubers as well. Any final comments, Terry and Dan?
Yeah, absolutely. I wrote down these were my notes tonight. Sharks good, Cowboys bad. So you thought Terry had stats? No, mate. Thanks so much for on.
I had pages upon pages of stats that we didn't get through, so I'll save that for us. But Sam, it's been an absolute pleasure. Look, this has been so much fun. Hopefully, we get a win and have us back on the show anytime, man. Because I'd love to come back on and have a chat to you.
Grand final preview. Much.
Well, the dead set might be a finals preview in the future if at the rate things are going. So that would be locked in, dead set. Thank you to everyone that's tuned in and commented. And again, thank you to the Rugby League Outlaws and Fins Up podcast for their time. Have a very nice weekend, and I'll talk to you guys later. Adios.
Thank you, mate.